Hello and welcome everyone to In the Nick of Tom. This is episode number 5 already. Look at us.
Oh, and we're doing them just once a week.
Yeah, episode number 5. Nick, how's it going, man? How was your week?
It's been rough, man. It's been
Yeah,
rough down
absolutely.
there.
And
I'm
what's
rooting
going
for
on?
nothing to happen with these unders,
Yeah.
and they pop some runs, and it's just
Mm.
it's tough. But recently I started actually going to AA meetings, not because I'm an alcoholic, but because I'm trying to bet one game a day, and I thought no better.
It might be hard to do.
No, just kidding. Jokes aside, no, I'm okay. But let's talk about you, man. What's up? What's going on? I didn't really catch up all weekend with you.
Yeah, it's been good. Week 2 of the NFL was very good to me. Our Discord plays that I submitted, I think we were up over 14 units with the plays I submitted in the Discord. Um, I went 4-1 again this week in the Westgate SuperContest, so that's 2 weeks in a row. Went 4-1, so we're now 8-2. I think we're tied for 31st. So long way to go.
Oh wait, I gave you that $100 though, right? Like, so I have what
Oh yeah, you
percentage?
got a stake in it, man.
Yeah. I want to buy in now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, checks in the mail.
Okay.
Yeah. So long, very long way to go. Obviously, it's a long season, but pretty good start. Definitely happy with the start. Um,
So tell
yeah.
people about the Supergate contest that may not know about. I know most people know about it,
Yeah.
but
So
we're gearing this podcast so you can bring your girlfriend and have her listen and watch, and she'll let you watch more football on Sundays. So what's
Yeah,
the
so
Supergate?
it's a Westgate Super Contest at the Westgate in Las Vegas. Each week during the NFL regular season, you pick 5 games against the spread. No over unders or anything like that. Just the spread, and then at the end there's I think there's about 1,600 entrants. Buy-ins $1,000. So there's a very big prize pool, but it's long way to go, but I'm definitely happy with an 8-2 start. That's not too bad. I think there's only 2 undefeated entries. There's only 2 entries that are 10-0 rather.
Oh, dude, I wonder what kind of party they're having if they live in
I know,
Vegas.
right?
So it's kind of like a big poker tournament. Some,
Yeah, in some level, sure, but it's
Tom
it's.
hates it when I bring sports betting to poker. He's like,
I do not.
I know you don't. I know.
It's interesting you bring that up though, because you had. It's funny because I don't know if I mentioned this on here before because I've dabbled in poker, and there are some time. Poker is such a funny game too, and I don't know if this really applies to you because you were an actual poker player who paid tax. You made enough, you paid taxes on it. But there are times where I played where it's like like one time I sat next to Dario Minieri at the Rio, which was kind of neat, and he asked me if I was a professional. I was like, thanks, but no. So it's like there have been times where people were like, man, like you're really good. And then there's other times where I've been like an absolute donkey. I guess that people go on tilt, and that happens to the best of us. But it's so like I always thought like I had my moments, but like I lacked the consistency. So what I've always wanted to know like what was it for you that like made you like successful long term with playing poker? I mean, was it just like is it similar to sports betting and like just discipline, like bankroll discipline and like
It's bank. Look, guys, it's bankroll management.
you always found value?
Thin value bets on the under.
Yeah.
No, no. I haven't really talked a ton about my poker days. But yeah, I was a professional for like over 5 years. There was a couple really good years there. And then, but yeah, my whole theory was that you just never can play your F game or even a D game. You can literally play your B game all year and make over 100,000
Yeah.
easy back then. You know what I mean? Like it was really just about avoiding that super tilt, because that super tilt for one night or 2 days or whatever it is, you would see it. It literally, people would lose everything. And I think that's the same with sports betting. Obviously, there's betting limits, but I'm sure there's been people that have turned 100 into 3,000, 4,000, and they bet a few hundred, and then they lose 3 in a row, and then it's like all in $1,952.86, and then that loses. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like it's
yeah. It's like there's chasing involved in both.
And the energy, I never used to really believe in any of that stuff, to be honest. It's on the fence. But there is this vibe of chasing this idea, and like, and we all know, we all feel it. And part of my whole obsession with a lot of this stuff is like, if you could somehow sense or figure out where there was like chasing content and fade it, that was the original idea behind all this, right? Like for me, and then I've met you, and things have evolved. But yeah, there's chasing and bankroll management and execution, the non-sexy part that no one wants to talk about. But if you want to change your life for sports betting, try this: one bet a day. Circling back to the whole meeting joke, I'm kind of serious on that. If you did one bet a day, you're for 60 days, you would see, like, I think it would blow your mind. You'd have to deal with all this FOMO and yeah, anyhow. But that's end scene right there.
Yeah, I mean, depending on who you are, that could be varying levels of difficulty. But it's interesting. Like, do you think, because now, like with sport, especially in recent years with sports betting becoming so accessible and legalized in so many states now. Remember back when Chris Moneymaker won the main event, and I think that was in 2003, and then everyone was like, "Wow, he's a regular guy that won the tournament. I can do that." And there was like the big poker boom.
Dude, that was me.
Yeah. So do you see like a similarity? Like,
yeah,
that's happening with sports betting now in a way.
I do, because like I'll give these speeches like, nobody can hit. I can come off sometimes a little preachy and dry, and it's like, nobody can hit 57% in the long run. But it's like, well, maybe that's out the window now. I mean, obviously that's really good. But like, yeah, there's a ton of, I do think we're in a renaissance. Yeah, there's a ton of new money hitting the market. I think lines are juiced. And I also think if we can start seeing commissions come down, I mean, the VIG is tough. People don't realize paying the -110 to win 100 is a huge deal. I mean, no one wants to talk about it, but that's like,
including me.
well, and and I think, well, you take a lot of dogs, I mean, but in general, it's a big deal. But yeah, I do think it's really similar, and I think we're probably in 2005, 2006. We got, dude, second. Yeah, I think we're on the we're in the third inning. That's my official stance. So
it's on the record now. So,
but if we don't talk about some football, dude, 4-1 this weekend. In terms of social media, I do have my accounts I watch. Of course, I watch your videos, and you did have a look in your eye, like no bullshit, about that Eagles game.
Yeah, I was really excited last night. It was a few times a year. There are a couple games where, for me, and I wonder, it's something I've never really asked like too many people. How often, like, not only do you look at like game by game and the players, injuries, et cetera, but like sometimes I'll look like weeks ahead, like 4 weeks ahead, and like kind of write like a narrative in my own mind, like, okay, like in 4 weeks, like if this happens and this happens and this happens with these teams when they play each other, I like this team, but all of those things have to happen first. And I did something a little bit similar with this Eagles game, as I put in my video, because it was put on my radar. I found it, and I started looking at the lines in the first couple weeks back in July, and I saw the Eagles Vikings game, and I saw that the Vikings were playing Green Bay in Week 1, and the Eagles were playing Detroit, and I was, I'm still high on Detroit. I think they're gonna, I'm not saying they're gonna be a juggernaut or anything, but they're going to be, I think, a lot better than they usually are, than people are used to. So I thought that that Detroit could probably give Philly a close game in Week 1. They covered. It was a 3-point game, but it was actually, in my opinion, that game wasn't as close as the score indicated. The Lions just kind of came back at the end and got the cover. But I thought if Detroit won or covered against the Eagles, and then the Vikings won or covered against Green Bay, there was I love the Week 2 overreactions. In my opinion, that's always been, Week 2 is probably my favorite week, because there's all these overreactions from the Week 1 games, and this is exactly it played out. That's what was so cool about it. It played out exactly how I thought it would. So everyone was going to say, oh, the Viking, the Eagles only beat the Lions by 3, and the Vikings beat the Packers, and this will be easy. I mean, I think that the Eagles are probably the best team in the NFC. I think um, I think they definitely have a shot at winning the NFC. Anything can happen, but they're so strong at every. They're solid at every position. They have a very balanced attack. I think, and so when I saw that line, and we got it at -2 in the Super Contest, so we were
Oh,
salivating. I mean, I got it at 2.5. Um, you know, on DraftKings, and then of course I took the alternate line -9.5, which came through as well. Um, but yeah, it's one of those things. There are a few bets over the course of my illustrious betting career where I where I was so certain that it would happen that I was like I almost was like scared. Like am I not literally, but it's like am I like that? Like, am I the sucker? Like, why am
yeah,
I confident in this? And this was one of them. I would
yeah. It's like
say,
short and Tesla.
yeah,
I mean, just kidding.
last, but I would say the Eagles last night was maybe the most confident I've ever been in a bet in all my life. But at the same time, because I really put myself on the line, in the video and dealing with -9.5, and I think some people were, I'm sure people watched the video and gave me some funny looks. I know a lot of people were on the Vikings, so I
What's
wasn't
the
prepared.
yeah? So is it just, are these people just suckers? I mean, are these people just? I
No,
mean,
I don't think the Vikings were like I understand why people like the Vikings, and I'm not saying
I want you to sell me the Vikings right now. No, I'm just kidding. But I think I look at week one stuff because I think I'm kind of like you. There's just a lot of blind eyes. Um,
yeah, no, I don't think that the Vikings were like a sucker bet or a square bet or anything like that. I mean, they looked good in week one. I think Green Bay was pretty beat up, so to me the win wasn't maybe as impressive, but Green Bay is still going to be a good team. So
yeah,
I think so I don't think that I'm not saying that anyone who took Minnesota that was a bad or saying anything negative like that.
no,
But to me, I think yeah, I was just so confident, and that scared me because I could have had a lot of egg on my face, going like what if Minnesota had crushed them, and meanwhile I'm like Eagles -9.5.
9.5.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about you, Quacky, not my favorite. One of them is like
Oh.
is when you go, man, this is quacky. Like, and I'm like, dude, you want to take the Nationals tonight on Patrick Corbin Day? I'm down, dude. If you got that feeling, but I think the thing that of course, I liked it is like you have this feeling, it hits, and then there's always this moment afterwards, for me at least, where I go, oh, I've been betting way too many games, personally, and
Mhm.
I'm like, "Oh, if that's the feeling, that's the result," and you go, it's almost like an exhale
Mm.
for me.
Yeah, yeah.
But I love you did tee that game up. You were talking about that for I mean, I think the first day we met, you literally brought up the strength of schedule. No, but I mean, you really did though, like within the first week. And so I was so awesome to see it all come through. And
Yeah,
the best handicapper on TikTok right here, Quacky.
I mean, I thank you. I've had I have had some success in the 3 months I've been doing this, but I mean, there's definitely some luck involved too. I mean, I don't. I mean, I think I have a decent eye for some things, but I don't know that I would even call myself sharp.
Oh,
To be
I don't know about that, but we'll get back to our humble beginnings here. I want to talk about this alt line for a second.
Mhm.
So one thing I noticed in sports, coming from a finance background,
Oh
is
wow.
that this idea of like, okay, I'm gonna take a team for -2.5 for a coin flip,
Mhm.
but at -9, they're plus 240 or whatever they were. Because I remember actually asking you, like, hey, would you take a -14 for like plus 550? And you said, yeah, I won't make it a play, and I'm not going to do it, but like, it's not out of the realm. You were like, if that was a hypothetical.
Mhm.
And what it kind of says to me is that there's not like it's not like a normal distribution in terms of like
Mhm.
a team loses. If it's kind of like, and I've mentioned this before, it's like if they lose, they're going to lose by a lot.
Mm-hmm.
or they don't lose. You know what I mean? So
Right,
there's like
right.
a very as in poker, because we talked about a little poker, it's very polarized, and the books don't price lines that way. They price them linearly. So I think there is a lot of value to be had by finding alt lines. And that brings me to my next point. Dude, this Lord Maximus comes on our podcast. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So we did some numbers. We ran some numbers. So they have we're like announcing it to the world. I think MGM has a mispriced thing. Lord Maximus, the Lord found it, is hitting these sharp parlays. And it's another example of the books kind of having a mispriced line, but on a much larger scale. Dude, I don't think they had a very high bar for hiring people at BetMGM, because every state that opens, they're like, we need like 45 call agents, we need 6 bookmakers, and it's like, well, who are we gonna hire as a book? Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
But dude, that guy is like blowing up, and
He really is. It's and if you don't follow him on TikTok, Lord Maximus with 2 X's. He was on what was it, our second or third episode? I think it was our second episode. But he's really picking up some traction, to say the least, with these sharp parlays. And
Yeah, they're hitting, and then the best thing about this whole thing is then he hits a little losing streak, comes down to earth a little bit, not like just, like literally, and then his following just rips, dude. Like I'm
yeah,
talking like 4,000 to 6,000 to 8,000. And I have a bet we're let's actually, so I say, what is he? He's a 8,000. I bet he probably is going to have, we should do like a $50,000 line for him. I'm gonna see if he can like hedge his own social media content creation. A 50,000,
$50,000 what?
or no, I'm sorry, a 50,000 follower,
Fifty
like
thousand followers by
by
when?
October 31st.
By
Let's
October. How many followers does he have now? Like four?
I don't know. I don't know. He probably has like
It's less than 10,000.
less
I
than
want to say it's
10,000.
like 4 or 5, but I don't.
All right, we're gonna post a line, and if we'll see what people, let's see what people think the line should be for Lord
50,000.
Maximus's follower count by Halloween. Let's
Gosh,
open that.
that's a lot. I mean,
Maybe
I'm
it's
not
too
saying
high.
he can't do it. I mean, because he posted a video yesterday, and it got, what was it, 80,000 or?
Dude, it's over 130,000. But this
Oh,
is kind
really?
of like, this is like, of course, my dream. I'm like, this is what it's like to be a bookmaker in some of these weird markets. It's like, dude, what should the line be? Well, I don't know. I've never done this before. Okay, well, yeah, all right. So yeah, what is Lord Max? What is the line for Lord Maximus's follower count over under October 31st? Boom. Let's leave it there.
I would say I'd go over 25,000 for sure. I mean, I just want
Oh,
to.
I'm going over. Yeah, I'm over. So all this action comes in on the over. We got to bump it. So first the books will move. They'll move the odds. So if you want to take over 25,000 followers, they'll move it to like you got to risk 140 to make 100, and then they'll move the line. Anyway,
That's.
but
I mean, it could happen too. I mean, I'm still so new to TikTok, and I mean, I've only been doing all the social media stuff for 3 months, but um, it grows exponential. I mean, just from my video last night with having the Eagles, I put 5 units on the Eagles -2.5 and 1 unit on the alt line -9.5. I think I gained 100 followers or like since last night just from that, which is good for me, but it
dude,
definitely grows exponentially.
the number one rule about TikTok is the better the handicapper, the more humble the handicapper, like or like the better. Oh, I'm sorry, like the best handicappers always have like kind of like you're following, very engaged followers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And like humble. And
Yeah,
although Lord Maximus, these sharp parlays, man, they're killing me, dude. I'm
yeah.
like so bummed I can't play at MGM. But anyhow,
Oh yeah.
I digress. Any other things that jumped out on you on Sunday or even last night from the football, or even looking forward this week coming up?
Well, I'll tell you, one of my I think I lost. I posted on Twitter that Cardinals Raiders game took about 3 months off my lifespan. Holy jeez, because I took the Cardinals. It was one of my SuperContest picks at +5.5, And gosh, what was the score at halftime? Was it like 17-0 or
20-0, I think.
it's 20-0?
I
Yeah, and
had
then
them money line. I thought it was such a dumb bet. I mean, I got so lucky, but yeah, that was ridiculous.
you have done well with the
I've done well with
underdog.
football
You had the
plays.
Seahawks.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
my baseballs, but I know I'm not like football. I'm
you've done
yeah.
really well with the underdog money lines in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm just doing. I'm only doing underdogs publicly and privately betting. You need
Well,
to get to a meeting.
yeah, you know what was so funny about like sports betting. Like I took the Cardinals what they were down. It's 23-15, and then with on the last play of what would have been the last play of the game, they score the touchdown. So it's 23-21. I've got them at +5.5. I'm like, yes, I'm freaking out because they scored. I'm like, no, miss the 2-pointer. Like
Oh yeah.
freaking turn on them right away. Like after they
That's
go,
what I'm, dude. It's like,
yeah,
yeah,
because I didn't want to see overtime. I mean, of course it worked out, but like that would be my luck. Freaking, they come back and send it to overtime, and then at +5.5, the Raiders win by 6. That would happen to me.
5.5 is a sick spread. I don't. That's like a sicko spread. I feel
Yeah,
like that.
that's one you don't see too often. A lot of times they're floating around the key numbers 3, 4, 7, 10.
Hey, I am gonna break this down right now. I am gonna see how many times teams have had a 5.5 point spread. So why don't you give us just go off the color here for about 30 seconds while I look this up. I'm gonna
Oh,
look up how many
yeah.
times, or look at what's popping up for you this week. Anything? I know you got I know you got the SuperGate, so obviously you should take that seriously because I have $100 buy-in with that on you. No, just kidding. But yeah, what is anything popping up?
I mean,
Uh,
I haven't, admittedly, I haven't done a ton of investigating just yet. Um, I'm not saying I like it or anything like that, but that Chiefs Colts game. I mean, the Chiefs are -6.5 against the Colts. I don't really know. I mean, unless there's something I'm missing. Again, I haven't done a ton of investigating, but the Colts are. I don't know. That just seems weird. I guess I thought, but it looks like it opened at 3 here. I'm looking at scores and odds. I mean, pretty much everyone is down on the Colts. They have not looked good. I mean, they tied the Texans. Now they lost to the Jaguars. But the Colts always struggle in Jacksonville. If you remember last year, I think they've lost 6 straight in Jacksonville. I think it's like 5 or 6. But they, if you remember last year, all they needed to do was win the last game of the year in Jacksonville to make the playoffs, and Jacksonville was
uh,
below 500, and they lost. They couldn't win that last game. They're just cursed there, I guess. But I actually almost took Jacksonville in the SuperContest, just mostly because I knew how bad Indy struggles down there. But I was surprised that the game, the
what?
outcome was the way it was. I thought it'd at least be close. But yeah, the Colts. I mean, I feel like public sentiment's definitely down on the Colts.
Well,
And
and I actually am looking at taking the Colts money line. It's one thing that's popping up. That's where I think a lot of people. I mean, let's be honest. Can we call it a spade a spade? The Bengals are the GameStop of football. I mean, their dynasty is done. It's done. Um, and but hey, I was right. So it hasn't happened that often. We were right. It's happened maybe 180, 170 times. Hits 55, almost 55% of the time if the team
wait,
is a 5.5 point dog.
wait. So specifically 5.5 point underdog covers.
54.3% of the time.
And how many times did it occur? You said 108. What, like in the Super Bowl era, or
Last since 2000 or since 2003. I mean, I just ran it. I closed it, but essentially, yeah, for last basically call it 20 years, we can get the exact numbers. Since 2000, yeah, 2003, 94 and 79 for you're up 10 units. It's a grind. I mean, but this is a very blind system, right? So like I'm just saying 5.5 is a special number. And
interesting?
I think there's that's an interesting angle right there.
Hmm.
Like you could literally have betting systems that just do this kind of stuff. Um, you know, betting week 2. Like one of the things is betting week 1 teams, off certain angles just because, home underdogs, first half, stuff like that. But anyhow, all right. Well, Quacky T, Colts money line, we're all in. So,
Well, no, I just
no, I'm just kidding.
that line's kind of interesting, but again, I admittedly haven't done. I really haven't done much digging yet this week, but I will starting tomorrow as far as the week 3 games are concerned. You know what? It made me think of you're talking about different systems and like getting specific there. I was thinking, earlier in the year, I think it was back in July. I was it was a Cardinals Phillies game, and JT Realmuto was batting, and you can live bet on DraftKings. And I was like, you know what? Because I'm a Phillies fan. I was like, JT's due for a home run. I'll put $5 on a live bet for JT Realmuto to hit a home run at this at bat. It was, I think, like 22-1. And guess what? JT went yard, man. I won.
Guess what? He walked.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
so $5 on it, and so
yeah, no, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah. So here's what was interesting. So I sent a screenshot of it to my buddy Lou, and because on DraftKings it says outcome JT Realmuto plate appearance, third at bat. And when I sent a screenshot, to show my friend Lou, look what I just did. He was like, "Holy crap, Tom! Like, how did you call that for the specifically the third at bat?" And I was like, "No, it's just saying stating that this is his third at bat." He thought that I had before the game said, "I think he's going to go." When will the day come where you can do that and then be like, "It's going to be his third at bat, second pitch of the at bat, and it's going to be a curveball."
Okay.
Hey,
dude.
You know what I mean? Something astronomical.
More. Give us more. That just gave me goosebumps. I want to start a prop betting firm right now.
Yeah. or let's take it for third at bat, third pitch, fastball over 97 miles per hour or something like that. Really break it.
84-1. Parlay that with another third inning, 2 home runs by 2 teams. And then you get screenshots on Instagram of $15 into 6 million.
I think that'd be a lot more than 84-1. I mean, I'm no odds maker. Maybe I'm way off. Maybe I'm.
I think you're right, though. I think there's a whole new level coming, and it's going to be here soon. And it's going to be exchanges. So you'll be able to write your own bets, right? So we could we could have our own algorithms running, and we're like, all right, man, let's start selling Nerfy bets. Let's let people buy Nerfies off us. We'll charge a little less than DraftKings or MGM in terms of juice. And you basically, that's how they do it in Europe. But yeah, I think that day is coming soon.
Yeah, I want, and people are gonna, man, they'll clean up on that. People will be throwing even, I know the minimum bet on DraftKings is 10 cents. 10 cents here, 50 cents.
10 cents.
Yeah, I think that's the minimum bet on DraftKings. But then someone will do my cousin showed me something over the summer, and I can't remember. It was a regular season NBA game, and it was predict the final score of the NBA, and it was 116 to 111 or something And this guy, I guess, at least on the TikTok, went to bed and woke up. I think he had
I remember this.
Yeah, 25 cents on it. And what did he won? Something incredibly some astronomical amount.
Like 9,000, right, or something down like that, or was it
No, it was 6 figures or maybe 7. It was something ridiculous. I don't know how much he bet. I said
so. Okay, because I was gonna say because I do think books
life-changing money. I mean,
yeah. No, I mean that's where I think they're screwing up. I think they are in over their heads. I think. I mean, I don't know. I don't see their. I mean, I actually did look at DraftKings. They're a publicly traded company. This is not financial advice, but I think they're in over their head on some of these parlay. Now, I talked about this last time. How do you model risk when it's a 3-team parlay with weird stuff? It doesn't. I think there's some mistakes being made. I mean, banks make mistakes and they've been doing this for a lot longer. A lot of these books, they open up, California is going to get legal gambling. You know how many employees they're going to need? How many bookmakers they're going to need?
Yeah. Sometimes DraftKings has these pre-built parlays that they advertise. And I definitely think that first off, I never have taken any of them because
Oh, they're like laying
oh,
off risk.
because it's like one click away instead of like building it yourself. But like first off, I think that they're setting them up so it's like it's just from the eye test, but I feel like most of them have to lose. And like
Well, they're probably, if they're smart, they're scanning their internal risk, like where their exposure is, and they're like, okay, we can sell this combination of bets to
mhm.
like reduce our risk. It's like they're basically selling CDO swaps, like 2008 housing. No, I'm just kind of though. It's like, here's our exposure. Okay, let's build some parlays to like minimize it. They're probably not that sophisticated yet.
Yeah, but I would guess not. But sometimes I look at them and like it'll be like 3 or 4 props, and I'm like, and it'll be like plus 400. I'm like, that's it for that. And I mean, I'm not an odds maker, so maybe I'm wrong, but it just seems like some of these things, it's like 4 props, like that seems like it should pay a lot more. But then they
Maybe
probably have people that don't, and again, maybe I'm wrong. I feel like I'm probably not, but I could be.
no, I
Like, there's probably people that like who may be inexperienced, like whoa, like full plus 400, and like, and they're getting over that way. So
well, just remember, there's a
I think
lot of newer
it both ways.
people. Yeah. Maybe you'll do this. I don't know if you want to screenshot and do a video on it, just an educational one. You could use this as an example on one of your contents.
Yeah,
Throwing it out there.
yeah,
But yeah, guys, we're taking I actually work for DraftKings. We're taking applications. We actually need a couple of bookmakers in Bakersfield. We got a book opening up in Bakersfield in a call center. So if you have
yeah.
any experience, no.
Well,
Well, kind of wrapping it up, we'll probably have Maximus on, and we got a lot. We don't know what the line is, so if you guys throw it in the comments or throw it somewhere so we can try to set this line and we can all put our bookmaker hat on.
yeah, yeah. We'll be monitoring it. We'll definitely revisit it next week. So, all
Yep,
right,
just all right. Yeah, just in the nick of time. Give us a follow, and we'll catch you guys down the road.
all right. See you next time, Nick.
All right, see you.